Scott Bauer is joining us from the CME, CEO of Prosper Trading Academy. Scott, are we going to hold at 49.5?
Great question. I think we had this same discussion just last week, right? And I looked for a small rally, which we got, and then I actually, if you remember, I actually tweeted you, and I said, I think it's time to sell it here. Is it going to hold here again this time? I think it all matters on what Russia says right now. I don't think it matters on any news coming out about the virus over the next couple days, unless something catastrophic happens, God forbid. I think that the market is really now weighing and very unhinged because Russia is kind of standing by and kind of dragging OPEC's feet along here and not, really saying whether they're going to go along with these proposed additional cutbacks.
Okay, so this is back to a supply situation. I think it's a good thing to bring up since we've been very consumed by the demand side. I think the takeaway here is that crude has really gotten hit on both ends, and possibly an explanation for why it's been the worst performer during this coronavirus scare, because it may just be even more than coronavirus. I think that's an important point.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, if you take away the issue of the virus, and hopefully that happens shortly, there's still a humongous fundamental headwind here that of supply and demand. I mean, it's honestly, it's basic economics. Everybody wants to make it more difficult than that. It's basic economics. And right now, supply just far outweighs demand. Without the virus, would we be trading sub 50 here? Probably not, but I don't really think we'd be trading much higher than maybe 52, 53.
Yeah. So, Scott, nice trade on the previous bounce. Do you want to do it again? Run it back around?
I do want to do it again. I really do, because, there's so much of this that is a psychological trade as well. Now, I will tell you, however, if we break that 48 level to the downside here, you are going to start seeing some capitulation from any of the longs that are out there. And I could see a very precipitous drop from 48 probably down to about the 45 area with a lot of dead air, something traders call a big gap with no trade there. And I think that would be a capitulation. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I think if we hit that 48 level, there is a very high probability of that.
I mean, we didn't have to stretch our charts back to like 2 to 3 years, right, to get anything in that area since, above 48 is essentially where we were. I mean, during the recession scare and the Fed tightening freak out of 2019, the Christmas Eve massacre sent crude down, to $43, but it got back so quickly that apart from that one blip, it's generally been, $50 and above. I guess on the demand side, there's hope in copper because that seems to be stabilizing somewhat. And for a while there, these two commodities were like 1 and 1.
Yeah, copper is the one space there that is really, like you said, stabilizing. I don't know if we put in a bottom just yet, but it's certainly stabilizing. And, China is the biggest consumption for commodities like copper. So you think about, what's going on there. You think about the scare from the virus, and if it's tapering off a little bit here, that maybe is a sign for the oil space as well. What I think is really interesting, Oliver, is a conversation that we have all the time, is the spread between West Texas and Brent. 6 weeks ago when we got the attacks in the Middle East, that thing went out to $10. It's now under $4 now, the tightest it's been in quite some time. I think that's really something to take a close look at.
Yeah, Scott, really good stuff on energy. But I got to hit you on one other future product before you go.
What's that?
BTC over the weekend broke 10K. You want to ride the momentum as like a safety trade, or you want to fade the bounce?
You know what? It was there again this morning, too, sold off a little bit. It's there on pretty heavy volume. I think this is a good thing because with the market recovering today somewhat, from where it was Friday, from where it was even early this morning, Bitcoin's down just a little bit, but we're not seeing, a flee out of it. So, I think this area right here can hold for quite a while. Am I saying we're going to 10.5, 10.8, anything like that? No, but I think hovering around 10 grand, that can happen for quite a while here.
All right, Scott Bauer joining us from the CME. Nice work here talking some commodities.